Hello, we're live. Holy shit. I'm gonna wait for a few of you guys to join and then we're gonna get started in this hoedown from hell. Can you guys believe this shit? I don't know about you. I did not sleep at all. Hence this. I know. All right, we got a good little crowd in here, so we're gonna get this shit started. So I'm gonna make this brief today. Obviously we are all anxiety ridden. This is absolute fucking chaos. First of all, I'm not even gonna get into this sloppy, convoluted mess right now of the voting. It is such a shit show. Like, is this the apocalypse that never ends? Seriously, what? My stomach is in knots right now, in knots. Like, what the fuck is going on? So, regardless of what happens, I wanted to hop on here because clearly this is all completely outrageous, right? Convoluted mess, like I said. If there's one thing, though, that this whole thing is showing me, and I hope that it's showing you too, and regardless of who wins, regardless at this point, right, is truly how out of touch the media is. And I know that what I'm saying is nothing new. I feel like we all know we're in the Twilight Zone, but I'm like, didn't we just do this in 2016? So what I'm saying is nothing new, but the sad part is this video and what I have to say is still going to be considered like sort of provocative and not what the group think and, oh, how dare you, Taylor, and whatever, okay? So in 2016, I remember that celebrities and high-profile people and people across the country were having fucking meltdowns because they thought that Hillary Clinton had it in the bag. They couldn't believe in their wildest dreams that Trump would ever win the presidency. And at the time, everybody was like, well, clearly you guys are out of touch with the rest of the country, the blue collar workers, the people who work hard, the average working person. By the way, if I'm not making fucking sense right now and I'm drooling on myself, taking a page out of Sleepy Joe, it's because, like I said, I slept for, I think I had like maybe a half of a REM cycle. So now the fact that it's happening all over again, I'm like, does everybody have amnesia? Like, were you not alive in 2016? What happened? Like, we already experienced this. So why has it only gotten worse? So up until last night, we were ambushed, berated by the media for 5 fucking years about how rotten of a person Donald Trump is. And I don't care how you feel about him, right? But how, this election was going to be a landslide for the blue. And it's happening all over again. People are like, oh my God, I have so much anxiety. How is it this tight of a race? The media and Chris Cuomo and deranged Don Lemon were telling us for all these months it was going to be a landslide. Guys, we already fucking did this in 2016. Like, what don't you get? And I'm not defending the right. I'm just saying, like, it's clear as day and unclear as my pupils and the bags under my eyes right now, that the media is so completely narcissistic and out of touch with such a vast majority of this country. Even looking at the rallies for Trump, it was unbelievable. I literally was like, this is like a fucking Bon Jovi rock concert, right? All the boats and parades and cars and the massive amount of people coming out. And still, like, people are so shocked that it's this neck and neck and this tight because the polls, because social media, big tech, all the mainstream news outlets had us thinking that it was going to be such a landslide on the left. Now, I actually really love how, I don't know if you guys caught this, but Tucker Carlson had a fucking phenomenal open of his show. I think it was last night or the night before. It was probably the night before. And he shows one of the photos of Trump's rallies. And it's literally like, it would blow your mind. It would literally blow your mind. And he says, why are all these people coming out to support him? Clearly, he isn't this monster that the media has been, like I said, berating us with for years, right? These are people who clearly feel misunderstood. And that's where the media is failing them. Think about it. Half of these people feel like they can't put a flag up for their candidate. They have to lie. I know people in my life, friends and family who say, yeah, I voted for Biden, and really they voted for Trump. How sad is that? So what Tucker says is clearly all of these people feel seen and this is and heard and represented. And this is something that career politicians have failed to do for years. Yet the media is telling us something completely opposite. And think about this too. Like, I am a reporter. I've written for these outlets. I've done interviews with every celebrity and high profile person almost you can name except Elon Musk. I'm waiting for that motherfucker. But I've been in the inner working and I've talked about it so many times. Like, think about the people running these organizations, right? They don't necessarily clearly represent the people of our country. You could have, like, say Janice, who goes to like a hoity-toity private liberal school, and then Janice decides to go and work for Refinery 29 and, you know, spew all of this stuff about how Trump is a racist, woman hater, homophobic, whatever, right? And then you have someone like, say, Jared. Jared, same thing. Privileged, rich Jared who goes to some liberal college and then goes off to work to CNN. Chris Cuomo. And then that's their narcissistic viewpoint that they're putting on you. So it's really upsetting to see as a journalist because I'm seeing how like these masses and masses and masses of people they're not trusting our media because look what's happening. If our media was fair up until this point, they would say, yeah, it looks like it could be neck and neck. It looks like it's going to be a tight race. But instead, they're like, oh, it's going to be a fucking landslide. The left has it. And again, I go back to Janice and Jared. They had their narcissistic viewpoint that they're going to badger us with. And it's not fair. Like, it doesn't represent people out there, all the people out there. And I have to say to you, Trump is no saint when it comes to this. I watched him yesterday on Fox and Friends, and it was fucking cringe. I was like, my dude, what? He was asked a question, and keep in mind, like, he's in the middle of a censorship war against big tech and against Google and, you know, all these celebrities and the elitists and what have you, cancel culture. So you would think that he would be like, you know, we want to hear from both sides. He's all right now championing free speech and getting rid of cancel culture. He's in this war with censorship right now. So you would think that he would be like, we want to hear both sides. We need to hear all sides. But instead, he goes on Fox and Friends and they ask him to comment on a thing Obama said about him, a criticism. And he starts like criticizing Fox News for not being, you know, he says it's like changed so much over the last 4 years and how, you know, insinuating it used to be much more conservative. And it was so fucking cringe because the journalists, the anchors are interjecting and they're like, no, we just try to report all sides. Like our tagline is, you know, we report, you decide. And he's like, and Trump's like, you know, it's not a good or a bad thing, but I'm just saying like this kind of thing. And I'm like, dude, this is part of the problem. Like, you are supposed to be advocating for free speech all around for all sides, and yet you're criticizing Fox News, like the one station that somewhat has your back these days, saying like they've become, you know, too liberal and saying they used to be much more Republican. No, it can't be that way. Like I said, Trump isn't an angel and isn't innocent in this either. But look at last night. And this is what I mean. It's like you would think that the media would learn from 2016 with how out of touch and skewed and how they spew everything. But they must think that we're idiots because they keep doing it and they're doing it up until this point. So last night, prematurely, Hi, sorry, that was my mom calling me. Very important things. So Joe Biden goes up and this guy starts talking like he won. And I'm like, dude, what? 5 seconds later, Trump goes up and does the same thing. I'm like, these fucking clowns right now are going up prematurely at talking like, I'm texting everyone being like, why is Biden talking like he won? 30 seconds later, why is Trump talking like he won? But here's how the media skews everything, right? I was blasted from here to the solar system about how Trump is the one who prematurely claimed a victory and how, destructive that is and how harmful that is and how wrong that is. But nothing about how Biden did the same thing. And I'm like, they both did it. They both did it. How are you only going to report that Trump did it and it was so horrible and awful when Joe Biden literally did the same thing? I actually really love, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, you have to look at Dave Portnoy's video that he put up last night, in which he came out and admitted today he prematurely advocated for Trump. Or not advocated, sorry, predicted that he was going to win. But more so than that, the important message of what he has to say is, no matter who wins, and if Trump does win, he is the fucking president. What good is it doing all day long he says it. He's like, all I've heard from the media for 5 years all day long is how horrible and how awful and how he hasn't done anything and how he's this and that. Well, clearly the people of this country that, by the way, you're reporting to and for, don't feel that way. It's split half and half. So I really wanted to jump on here because, again, like, this is nothing new, which is sad. But I'm like, how are they still perpetuating this to this day? Like, after 2016 and after everyone called them out for being so out of touch with the rest of the country. Like, when will the manipulation and the way that they spin shit and the way that they manipulate news to be, like I said, I'm going to bring it back to Janice and to Jared, to be in their little narcissistic viewpoint of what they believe, and they're projecting on you and what they want you to believe. It's so fucking twisted. I normally write notes for these, but this time I just kind of went rogue. I just want to look down and make sure that I didn't miss anything. Yeah, and like I said, I highly recommend whether you are for Trump or not, and I know right now we are all shitting our pants right now. Like, this is so unfair. We have all been through enough this year. Our nerves are shot. But really try to look at the Tucker Carlson video I'm talking about, because he makes such great points. He's like, I'm sorry, like, one is not like the other. How can this be happening? How can we have these thousands and thousands of people turning out and, like I said, feeling respected and heard, and then we hear a completely different story all day, every day for 5 years straight? So that's what that shows us, and it's really, really bad. Clearly I'm reading my notes right now and I'm trying to multitask. And so what I want to leave this with is that we can, like, bitch and moan all day long, right? Like, I can go on here and be like, this is clearly fucked up. This is clearly not okay. And I can complain about it. But I feel like what has to happen is that we need to be better at sort of opening our minds and being privy to this, like being privy to how manipulative the mainstream is, and follow people outside of your comfort zone. And I can give you a list if you DM me. I'll give you a list. Follow people who are free thinkers. Follow people who don't think like you. Follow people who call it as it is. Because if you're going to sit here listening to, CNN all day, who will twist everything. And by the way, I flip back and forth between CNN and Fox. It's all insane. You're never going to have all the information you need. And, like, basically we're being brainwashed, and it's 1984. So the media's out of touch. Just open your minds. I'm going to scroll through comments really quick. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see. Bear with me. Sexual. I know, super sexual, bags under my eyes and all. I know, we are all shot. It's really bad. But this is particularly, yes, so true. Yes, this is so true. I cannot stand the irony on the left. Biden brags about the very thing they try to impeach Trump for. I saw that. It's amazing. Absolutely, I agree. I dig it. Threat to democracy. But it's cool to censor and deplatform those who disagree. Totally. I did a live yesterday, and I've done episodes about the censorship as well. It's out of control. Narcissist is the exact word to describe this. Yeah, it's really unacceptable. Like, I'm sorry, if you're going to be a journalist, take the responsibility to show all sides. How dare you go up and, like, treat CNN like your personal diary that you write in at night? Knock it off. Want to weigh in on a border wall debate. That's a whole other issue. A lot of waves. The media is biased. Cancel me. Media is the devil. This was great tea. Thank you, Woody. Truth. It is sad, and this is shitty where our country has ended up. It's really horrible. The end of, the bottom line is, and I'm going to let this go, we need to be able to trust in our media. They're the people informing our brains and allowing us to make decisions. We need to be able to trust in them, but how can we trust in them when clearly it's like they don't give a shit about us and they just want to push what they want. And they couldn't be more out of touch, and it's really scary and it's really sad. So with that said, thank you guys for hopping on here and chiming in. I know we're all feeling this certain type of way about it. It's really crazy. And yeah, dishonest media, you're going down, bitch. See you guys soon. Hang in there. I know, I'm right there with you with the anxiety, but hang in there. And I'm fueling it by more coffee. Hope you guys are too. Oh, sorry. One last comment from Claire. I posted a Donald Trump quote on my Facebook about 8 years ago, and it was unfriended by about 10 friends. Remind me to tell you that story. Yeah, it's horrible. Like I said earlier, the amount of people who can't, put up flags in the front or lie, or, like they said, the silent majority. And we're seeing right now Biden is up by popular vote, but so it's not necessarily the majority, but it still shows you that it's 50-50. It's split. It's not the landslide like we were, brainwashed to believe. So, I don't know. I just want to see everybody represented in the news. I want to see, I don't want to see these pockets of DC and LA speak for the whole fucking country. It's absurd. So with that said, more coffee to fuel the anxiety. Thank you guys. Hang in there and DM me. We'll keep the convo